Good morning, friends. It is day 144 of Russia's invasion into Ukraine, and you continue to care and you continue to pray, and we're so grateful. There's not a lot happening today, so I'm going to keep this really brief. Putin and his secretary Shoigu have declared that Russia must advance on all fronts and attack and attack. But the reality is there are no ground attacks happening whatsoever. There is almost no, there's a lot of artillery in the last little bit. They're trying to get some more artillery going, but there's really no ground attacks happening whatsoever. And so that's awesome. Again, it's just a demonstration that the Russians don't have the capacity to fight, and that's awesome. The interesting thing is, as far as we can tell, we were talking about that special session that was supposed to name Putin as pravitelem, or ruler. We've shown no signs that anything has come out of that. In fact, it really seems to speak to the lack of political power Putin has had, because the decisions coming out of this special session have been almost nothing. And so, they've been really minimal. And so, unless there are some more meetings we do not know about, it looks like the things we've prayed for have come to pass, that the pressures that Putin is facing are rendering him unable to effectively both push the war forward or to mobilize the army to fight. And so that is awesome. On the Western Front, the Ukrainians are claiming they are pushing forward in Kherson. We don't have on-the-ground data for how that's happening. It's going to be, that will be huge. If they can retake Kherson, that will be huge. In the occupied territories, one of the key areas where the Ukrainians have been fighting back has been Melitopol, and in the center of the Zaporozhye region. And the Russians are cracking down as hard as they can, because the Russians are attempting to move, equipment and men to the Zaporozhye front. And every time they do, the partisans there have been, wrecking it, blowing up bridges, derailing trains. And so be praying for the people in occupied territories. It's really a big deal. And so, and continue to pray for the church on this Sunday, as the churches are gathering. Pray for the people to both run to the churches and the churches to receive them, to be able to minister to them, to bring the light of the gospel to them. Again, people need the gospel. Yes, they need food. Yes, but they need the gospel. The amount of trauma they've been through, only Christ can give them what they need to restore their hearts, to restore their souls, and to turn them from victims into the people who minister and bring life. So thank you so much for continuing to stand with Ukraine and Russia, the Russian people as well, as we're praying for revival. We're praying for the kingdom of God to advance in the middle of this darkness in Belarus as well. And so continue to pray we're still somewhat dumbfounded about the silence that's been coming out of this special session in Russia. So we're praying for Daniel. We're praying for the men and women of righteousness and truth and justice to arise in Russia, and as the thieves who've stolen, who want the war to end, just to get their stuff back, and the warmongers fight, that the truth and justice will rise in the midst. So continue to pray, and continue to pray for our friends Vladimir and Lilia and the church Благовесть, as they continue to raise up churches across Ukraine to bring the light of the gospel to those who are suffering. We love you all. Have an amazing day.